I actually joined the reserves when I was 16 years old in July 1970. At that point, it was play with guns. I learned after a while that playing with guns is not what the military is about. So at 17, I was a section commander responsible for training other new recruits, and I grew up rather quickly. Once you're put in a leadership role like that, responsible for 10 other individuals, you have to mature and learn and motivate them, and also teach them. So I was teaching everything from weapons handling, first aid, map using, radio procedures. My father served at the end of World War II. My father lived in India. He was drafted and he served on the India-China border. Grandfather on my mother's side served in World War I. What I could determine, I think he was a medic. Don't have a lot of information. During World War II, he was a bomb warden. And as my mother explained to me, her father was angry. And I think a lot of that was because at that point, shell shock, PTSD, no one knew how to treat it. So I believe if he served 2 years as a medic in World War I, he saw a lot of very horrible stuff. And I suspect that's why he was so angry. In my last tour in Afghanistan, my father was very insistent that he wanted me to be interviewed by the paper up in Tunis, the Daily Press. I didn't want to do it. However, I knew it was important to my father. It was a long interview, and I didn't like the paper, Hometown Hero Goes to Afghanistan. I don't consider myself a hero. I consider myself a soldier. I was doing my job. But it made my father that much prouder of me. When I was a young soldier with the Algonquin Regiment, I'd march on Remembrance Day Parade. I'm 17 years old, and I saw a whole bunch of older gentlemen who were World War II veterans in their 50s and 60s. I had no idea what they did until I served in Bosnia and Afghanistan. I grew up well before that, but after that, I had a much better idea of what they experienced during World War II. And I learned that, respect the veterans. One of the questions I hate is, did you kill anybody? Do you ask your doctor, how many of your patients did you kill? Okay. If you really want to talk with a soldier, ask them, what's your best memory? What are the things you're proudest of? I've yet to meet a soldier who is proud of killing anybody. 17 September 1976, I was a brand new platoon commander in 3 PPCLI. On my first night on exercise in Wainwright, Alberta. That night, Private John Brzezinski was killed. He was a soldier in my platoon at the junction of Black and White Route. He was about 18 years old, and all I can remember when I interviewed him, he was about 5'11", acne, skinny. The vehicle was going down one route, came to a T-junction, there was a ditch, and it rolled in the vehicle. So to me, Remembrance Day is remembering John Brzezinski. Next year is the 50th anniversary of his death. I also remember Karl Onufrichuk. Karl Onufrichuk was going to be my best man. He died on morning PT training in Victoria. In some ways, I blame myself because I was going to run with him. I got tired of waiting. I ran the route backwards. If I'd waited, I would have been with him when he passed out. And I could have done CPR or whatever. I know now that he had a medical condition that wasn't detected. Even if I had done CPR, it wouldn't have done anything. But you still carry that guilt. I'm still in friends with his wife, and I will be for the rest of my life. But those are the individuals that I remember. I could name a whole bunch more. But it's a day to reflect on those who served and either died in conflict or on training, but died while they're serving with the military. In 2014, I mugged out a Patricia, and in 2016, he died by suicide. We did a whole bunch of internal nasal gazing. How did we miss the signs? In the end, John Hunter and myself wrote a paper, Healthy Soldier, Healthy Veteran. And what I did is, when I took over as president of the PPCLI Association in 2017, I still don't know how I did it. I did a mental health suicide awareness workshop. I had Walton Atinchuk, who at that time was Deputy Minister of Veterans Affairs Canada, talk. Wayne Eyre, who was Deputy Commander, Chief of Military Personnel, talk. Chief Psychiatrist from the Army, Chief Psychiatrist from Veterans Affairs Canada, and Colin Fitzgerald, who tried to commit suicide by cop. At the end of it, they gave me permission to run one mental health workshop. I ran 5 in the first year. And between 2017 and 2019, we ran 9 mental health workshops across Canada, and that network still exists. Various people told me I have PTSD. I don't. I went and got myself assessed in July. The psychiatrist said, yep, you experienced a whole bunch of traumatic events, but no, you don't have PTSD. And the reason I believe I don't have it is because of the mental health suicide awareness workshops I ran. That gave me a whole bunch of tools to help myself. I also learned I'm not responsible for other people's decisions. People tell you that. When you're helping someone, unfortunately, you'd have a tendency of taking ownership of their problems and you say, it's my fault that he drank and did A, B, C. No, it's not. It's that person's fault they did it. You can't tell a person to stop drinking. You can say, have you thought about reducing your drinking? Have you thought about going to AA? Have you thought about, the second you say you have to do X, Y, Z, barriers go up, okay? And you'll get nowhere. When people have mental health issues, the worst thing you can say is, I know how you're feeling, because I have no idea how you're feeling. A better response is, that's horrible. That sucks. How did you handle that? Okay? Those, being honest in the moment, saying, I don't know what the hell to say. Like, that's horrible. That means you're at least listening to the person and you're acknowledging their pain and anguish. I've decided to do a Balkan's 35th commemoration. 1992 was the first major troop contributions to the Balkans. 2027 is the 35th anniversary of that. I went back and looked at my notes last week, and I had one-page notes from the 4th of December, 2024. It's now expanded. We've got a Facebook group with over 1,000 followers. The discussion group is now hitting 700. And what I plan to do is get Balkan veterans to be acknowledged for their service between 1992 and 2004 in the Balkans. At that point, the Army transitioned from peacekeeping in Cyprus, which was fairly easy, to all of a sudden going into a war zone in the Balkans. It's not officially declared a war because our job was to try and keep the three sides apart. But the soldiers grew up extremely quickly and learned to adapt. And I think that set the Canadian Army up for success in Afghanistan because they'd learned the lessons 92 to 95 when the belligerents are there and you're caught in the middle. And that gave the junior NCOs, senior leaders, the realization training for war is a very serious business. I really don't care what men do to each other. It's when the women and children are held hostage between them or they're used as protective shields. They're the ones that I honestly worry about. And that's what I think causes more problems with a lot of soldiers. Because when you see the children, you think of your own children. And it's been my experiences on a lot of the deployments, soldiers, sailors, and airmen all seem to gyrate to helping kids at schools or orphanages because it reminds them of home.